Good evening, Reds. Welcome to Mufc Realist TV. This is your host, Jarvis Cocker, and tonight we have a super show for you guys. We are going to dig deep into yesterday's game with Ten Hag and the tactics. What has improved? I see you in a couple of seconds after the intro.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to...
Welcome, everybody. We have a great show for you tonight. We have Stu Wally on the panel co-hosting. We have Tom Journalist 1 and Wiki Witterbird on. So how are you all doing?
Everybody's good. Can we wish Stu a happy birthday? Oh, see, I knew it was coming up. Yay, yes. Happy birthday. Look, I even got this. I got you the party popper, didn't I? Oh, God, please don't do it. I hate when things explode in my face.
No, don't get sprayed in your face. Thank you very much. Yes.
Happy birthday, Stu.
Happy birthday, Stu.
I'll stick those on just for my birthday, guys. I've got my birthday cake here as well, everybody.
Wow.
Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty. Thank you all. Thank you all. How are we, guys? We all right?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
we're good. We're good.
Yeah, excellent.
So how did you play any footy this weekend or?
No, the mighty Tipton Town was stood down because the captain and Peacock, i.e. yours truly, couldn't play. So obviously when I can't play, then the team doesn't turn up. Period. But no, we were stood down this weekend. I'm not actually sure why, but we're back up this Saturday. I think we're away to a team called Catsill in Droitwich. So yeah, looking forward to that. I'll be fighting fit.
Okay. And your birthday, has it been so far? Did you celebrate?
I've had a fabulous day today. Thank you. I had loads of prizes, which I've been spoiled, really, which is quite nice. This is one of them. A nice,
very nice.
Yes,
looking
nice.
Good.
Coral colour. I've been spoiled. Yeah, I had a great day, actually. What am I? 22, I think. Something along those lines. 22. Staying as young as I possibly can, but no, I've had a great day.
It's all right. I keep you young.
The wife keeps me very young. Yes, she does. Yeah. Keeps me active. In like a gym way.
That's right. Yeah.
Very good. So, Wiki, how's your day been or weekend?
Weekend's been good. Yeah, had a spa day on Saturday.
Spa day.
Watch the football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what a great Sunday to watch football.
Yeah, it was. And you, Tom, how was your weekend? I spoke to you yesterday on Nuruddin's channel, but you been out traveling, business as usual, or?
Yeah, I have been today anyway. I've only got back about 15-20 minutes ago, but. Yeah, it's been pretty hectic for today, so to speak, anyway. But I'm a busy man, so.
I figured you were busy because I didn't want to bother you, but I sent you the link because it's Monday night. I know that you always join us when you have the time. So that's excellent. I just want to say hi to the VAR room. We have so many legends in the chat. We have Sanjay Ramatar, we have Lee Parker, Yalem Almin. It's Timmy time. We have Neil Driscoll, the legend, comes in and say good evening, everyone.
Hi,
Welsh
Neil.
Girl
Oh,
68 comes in. Evening all.
Hey,
And we have the big man himself,
hey, Mick.
Mick Ruby, coming in. Mick Ruby is watching the show tonight. So, guys and girls, you must behave. This is the last time.
Are we going to get blue cards?
I've already had one this season. Funnily enough, I have been sin binned this season. Not that I'm proud of it, but yes, I've been sin binned. Second game of the season, I got a sin bin.
Mm-hmm.
Chirping off, apparently. Yeah, chirping off, apparently. I'm not really.
Tipton Town.
Yeah, Tipton Town, the mighty Tipton Town, and game 2, yeah, I got a sin bin for chirping, which I wasn't too happy about, really, because, you know, I didn't really say anything too bad, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
I don't understand, Stu. In the lower leagues, shouldn't the ref just be allowed to say to the players, "Shut up and play on"? Why should they be so touchy about?
That particular ref that day, I'd been in his ear from kickoff anyway, because I don't know, I took a dislike to him immediately. I think it was his ponytail, which it kind of like, you know, I take a dislike to, you know, ponytails or
Abraham Glazer's ponytail.
Yeah, or leggings, or, you know, gloves, you know, anything like that.
He didn't have a man bun, did he?
Yeah, that was kind of it. And I take a bit of an instant dislike to stuff of that nature. Apologies if any of you in the VAR room wear gloves while playing footsie, have a man bun or have a ponytail, apologise. But I take a bit of issue with those, Jarvis, and it kind of almost riles me up immediately. And so I was in his ear right from the start, you know. And I can't remember exactly what I said to him, but it was along the lines of, "Please do on you something."
Can't say that word.
No.
Something.
But we get the picture.
Yes, yeah. I think it's an easy picture to paint and understand. Absolutely, yeah. But he took offence to it for some reason. So
yeah,
I don't know why.
Just the way it is. Danny B comes in and say happy birthday to.
Thank you very much.
Same with the Sanjay comes in, and Rashmano, he picks up 21.1k subs. Something happened with the algorithms. We have the new website and everything. So
brilliant.
Yeah, and people don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't, and start up early by hitting the like. It helps out the algorithms. Kevin McGee comes in. Evening, everyone. Big up. Who else do we have in the house? We have Neil Driscoll, mother-in-law funeral tomorrow. My heart goes out to you, Neil Driscoll. Hopes everything is okay with you, pal.
Yeah.
Okay, and one happy birthday from Mick. Big happy 21 birthdays too. You are the Benjamin Button of MUFC Realist TV.
I am indeed. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you are. So it was a good game yesterday. We won. We closed the gap. It's 5 and 6 points up to 5 and 5th and 4th now. It looks better. But as I'm thinking, we're just one injury away from total collapse again. I'm talking about the Kobbie Mainoo. So I want to start talking a little bit about the young prodigy. 18 years of age, he's controlling the midfield. I saw some highlights from the game yesterday of Kobbie Mainoo. He's so technical. Everything he do on the ball is always perfect. He uses 1 and 2 touches, controlling the game, the tempo, everything. So maybe we go to Tom first, and you can have a say about Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah, like I say, guys, we've discussed about Kobbie in the last couple of weeks and everything, and we've been full of praise of the kid. I've always used the phrase, listen, wrap the kid in cotton wool as much as you can. Let him play maybe a good 60, 70 minutes, but if you're winning the game or you're in control of it, listen, take the kid off. He's 18 years old. We said it before about what the manager did last season with Garnacho, where we weren't necessarily having a lot of benefit from the right-hand side, so he was flirting with Anthony and Garnacho and stuff last season, and Sancho obviously had some chances last season and stuff in terms of young players. But it's almost as if now, say with Garnacho, and just use that as an example, he's in the main team week in, week out now. He's starting pretty much every single game that he possibly can on that right-hand side, even ahead of such as Anthony now. But I look at someone like Kobbie Mainoo and I think the time frame that we actually brought him into the team, if I'm being completely honest, was disgraceful. I will admit. I think the time frame where Manchester United, they don't have anybody else. You have to rely on an 18-year-old kid. When it gets that far and that bad, there's a fitness issue or there's some sort of recovery issue with players coming back from injury. Because you shouldn't have to go to the youth ranks for players. You shouldn't. But it happened anyway. And look, we all knew that there was something special about this kid. That game that we saw in pre-season against Arsenal, even it was 15 minutes against Real Madrid. He was, as much as people have praised up Jude Bellingham this season, I saw Kobbie Mainoo controlled, disciplined on the ball. He didn't panic against experienced players in that sort of environment. And you've got to think he's not had all that experience that he has to this day. That was that game in the summer. But like I said, I think the kid's doing well. I don't want to ramp on about him too much and let him enjoy his moment is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Let him enjoy his moment. He's scored a couple of goals recently. He's playing quite well. He's playing next to someone who, ideally, he wants to have the same CV and career as in Casemiro, winning all the trophies, all the medals and everything. And he's going to learn. He's learning off of the best. But the thing that we have with this kid is we have time. That's all I'm going to say. We have time to develop him to be whatever kind of midfielder you want because he's got the lot. I think we could develop him to be an attacking midfielder. Absolutely. I think you saw from yesterday, the little shimmy past players, lays the ball off for somebody else. You can see that there is that ability if you want to do that. Me personally, I would keep him as a number 8. Let him hover around, let him do his thing, pick up the ball, let the game tick over. It's almost as if you've got the characteristic midfielder that the manager was looking for in his first summer that he was here with Frankie de Jong. I do see some stylistic similarities between the two. But like I say, I'm not comparing the kid to anybody. Like some people are going on social media saying he's the next Seedorf and he's going to be the next Paul Scholes. Listen, he's a local lad. He's from Stockport. He still lives with his mum and dad. His mum and dad probably do his washing, cook, clean for him. Let the kid live a life a little. Yeah, he might get a bit of money and stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do the most Man United thing in the world and give him $100,000 a week and say stay here for 5 years, sign your life away, like we normally do with a lot of our young players. But it's asset protection value. But like I said, the kid is doing well. Let me enjoy his moment, and we'll see what the future holds for him. But for me, the key thing is we have time with the guy. But when he gets to sort of Garnacho sort of age, 19, 20 years old, you need to identify where he is going to play week in, week out. Let him have this first season. Next season, Erik Ten Hag, assign him a slot. If he's going to be Casemiro's replacement, let him be Casemiro's replacement. If he's going to be the number 8, let him be the number 8. If he's going to replace Fernandes, maybe. If he goes off to Saudi Arabia or wherever, and you get a stupid offer, let him replace him. Let him develop into a sort of role that you think is best for him. But also, let the kid have the input to say, I'm comfortable playing here. I'm comfortable playing there. Because he can play wherever you want if you have injuries. We've seen that. But most importantly, as I always use the phrase, wrap the kid in cotton wool. Seriously. I've had too many of these tragic stories with young players that come to this club or come through the youth ranks and they get crippled. I saw it when Anthony Martial came here, and people think I'm a big hater of Anthony Martial. Listen, we burnt the kid out. But in fairness to Martial, I don't think he helped himself. Rashford, you can see a similar story there. And I think off the field's impacting on the field now. Garnacho, I don't want him to look at those role models in that team and think, oh, well, it's okay for them, it's okay for me. And he is young. And Kobbie Mainoo will look at that and think, there's a bit of similarities here as well. I'm young, I'm local. Marcus Rashford lived in the next city from Manchester from me. Like, there is going to be those sort of thought processes in players' minds. That's why I'm saying, wrap the kid in cotton wool, Get his father in, have a cup of tea, coffee, whatever, and say, listen, this is what our plan is for your son, but we want to sign him long term, but we're not going to give him stupid money. But if he performs and he excels to X, Y, Z, I don't know, gets 6 goals per season, 10 assists per season, whatever, he meets certain agreements and targets, we'll give him a big payoff at the end of the year. That's how you need to encourage young players. Give them something to aim for, not just give them it. There's no getting given anything in football. You have to earn it. So let the kid earn it, and he's doing really well. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
but I don't want to throw him in the firing line too much, and you burn the kid out. Or stupidly, you know how footballers are like nowadays. 2-foot him, go through the back of his knee, leg, whatever, and suddenly he'll come back and he won't be the same player. He won't be that confidence player. He will be, I don't really want to get into that, 50-50. I don't really want to challenge for the headers anymore. I don't really want to thing it because he's frail. He's too astute. He's too scared to go for anything. And we've got players in this team who are like that. And I'm not going to name names because people already know who those sort of players are anyway. But it will scar him. That's why I'm saying wrap the kid in cotton wool, because for once as a club, I will sit here and say we've got something good for once. We have got something good. So stick by it and with what we've got. But wrap the kid in cotton wool for me.
Yeah, you're touching on some brilliant points there, and our legacy in Man United, we know how to not, I would say, take care of youngsters. We all remember George Best, and in the 80s we had the Norman Whiteside. So we have had some brilliant talents that just fizzed away because of injuries, and we burned them out. So Stu, how did you see Kobbie Mainoo's performance yesterday?
Yeah, I think obviously Tom's touched on a lot of stuff that I was just speaking about. 100% agree with pretty much everything that he said. What I like about Mainoo is his time thinking process. He's one of the very few players that we've currently got in our squad that can foresee a 5-minute passage of play, and it's a very rare thing. It really is. Paul Scholes was a master at it. Jan Molby, Tom will know, and you will. Absolute legend at it. He patrolled the centre circle like that was his own, but he could see and he could almost decide, as I say, 5-minute plays in his head, and he would then orchestrate and conduct them. Kobbie Mainoo has that ability to be able to do that today. He is the most unique hybrid midfield player that I've seen since Scholes. And Scholes, if you remember, had the ability to play a 6, an 8 and a 10. Now, I don't know whether Mainoo can play a 10 just yet. I tend to agree with Tom. I think 6 to 8 is where he's at, and I think 8 is where he'll settle. He will be a wonderful playmaker for us, and that poses problems for Bruno long term, not short term. Also agree that we've got to take care of the kid, and his parents have got to take care of him. I think the acid test for him will be if he can work his way into the squad for the Euros as a squad player, not as a starter, but as a squad player. Take him there, have a look, see how the other half of international football is at a senior level rather than an 18 or a 21 level. He'll be wasted if he goes away in the summer for the 21s. We need to push him that way. We've also got to make sure that, as Tom says, we look after the kid. I hear all this stuff about, and Tom touched on it, the press are making all this about that, he's a very humble guy, would still walk to Carrington, etc., etc., etc. That's what Manchester United have got to stop and cut out completely, because you don't need any of that nonsense. You don't need people to lavish praise on him, because, I've got a lot of experience. I know Jude's family massively well, so I know how protected he was in the younger days of his career. And now it's starting to, I'm not going to say unravel, and I think Tom touched on it. It's starting to play a little bit. He's done one or two things recently that's been highlighted. And I know that his dad's not particularly happy with stuff of this nature. We need to avoid that. And what happened with Jude was a lovely gradual process. But once you hit the heady heights of Real Madrid, that's it, you're in a different stratosphere. Herein lies the issue with Manchester United. You're in that level stratosphere when you hit, the heights at Manchester United. So, if I'm Kobbie Mainoo's parents, if I'm Kobbie Mainoo, you've got to take control of your own destiny today, tomorrow, and yesterday. You've got to make sure that you don't push yourself forward and you walk instead of run. And that whatever you do, you keep yourself fit, you eat the right foods, you stay away from the wrong people, and you surround yourselves with people that you trust, not lectures. That unfortunately, players in the past, Danny Camaraderie, if you remember him when he burst onto the Everton scene, what a talent he was. Ravel Morrison, great talent. Francis Jeffers, great talent. Mctominay, great talent. These are all great talents who fizzled away. Jadon Sancho's doing it now. He's the modern day Ravel Morrison. He's fizzling his career away. Jesse Lingard, he's another one. He's not, before anyone jumps on me, by the way, I'm not saying he's as talented as Mainoo, but he was a talented footballer and he could have done more with his career. So I'm with Tom on this one. Let's, if you've got to take him out of the team for 2 or 3 weeks, do it. That's what Fergie used to do to great effect. Great effect. When he was when Gary Neville was jostling with Paul Parker my number one, but I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 games and you're out again and Parker's coming back in. Something like that would be ideal. The problem that we have right now, and I will shut up after this, is that we don't really have the ability of that player to kind of take him out of the equation to put somebody in unless Eriksen's firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, totally agree with Tom. Be interesting to see where we go from that. No stupid contracts either. I'd stick him on 25, 30 grand a week, heavily bonus him for appearances, England, goals, that type of stuff.
But do you think his feet is solid on the ground, or could he believe his own hype in a way? Because we know now it starts. We have the biggest fan base in the world, 600 million to 1 billion Man United fans. Everybody he will be the new Beatle, after a while, performing like this week after week.
Yeah, Vicky's in a good position to talk about that because she knows Lee Sharp really, really well. Now, Lee Sharp was a person. I don't want to bring Lee Sharp up, but you know what I mean. You'll see the similarities.
Yeah, how will he handle the fame? I
cannot believe you just said that.
Yeah, sorry, sweetheart. Well, that's it. I'm definitely divorced now. 100% divorced, girls.
I'm literally going red. Great.
No, my point being that Lee Sharp was a wonderfully talented footballer, wonderfully talented. And then all of a sudden, fame, fortune comes, and look at him. We sold him to Leeds for £4.5 million quid. He drops off the face of the earth. He should have been at United for another 2, 3, 4 seasons. He should have kept his foot in the ground. So I just think he's a great example, Vic. That's all.
Well, yeah, and you know what? I can agree with you with the Lee Sharp thing. But if Giggs can do it, and he was just as much as a party man, then what's the chances? But what you've got to with everything that's been going on with Man United, all the toxic stuff, it's just really nice to see that some academy players haven't pretty much been affected by it. And they seem quite level-headed. I think I was hearing that someone's brother, Kobbie's brother, has just said, yeah, he's exactly like he is. Just hearing all the sort of stuff that you're seeing. Hojlund's quite grounded. Garnacho isn't so much grounded, but he's constantly being grinding down by Bruno. So I guess they've all been told they're the future, and it's always going to be built around them from now. But yeah, I definitely think when it comes to Kobbie, I think he is actually that level grounded into his religion. Yep. And yeah.
Yeah, but do you think he will handle the fame well? Because we all know how the pressure will rise with this club, and do you think you have the right people around? Like Stu mentioned his parents, and you mentioned his brother, because this is things that we don't see in the news of Man United. But for me, I feel always the entourage around the player is very important, because I remember players like Jesse Lingard. Now you have like Sancho, you have Paul Pogba, players with huge entourage, yes men all around them, telling them they are the best in sliced bread. And do you think Kobbie has the right people around him to succeed at the current moment?
Yeah, I personally, I think so. The one thing I will say about Rashford is that obviously I felt like he was quite grounded, quite level-headed, and then obviously he split up with his girlfriend. So what do you do when you're young and you break up with your girlfriend? You go out. Yeah, I think you go out and you do things. You go and get out. You go out, go to Ireland. I think that was a good idea. I think I'm gonna have a good Ireland.
It's a good point from Neil, isn't it? About Fergie. He did have players to do it. Some big players: Schmeichel, Ince, Bruce, Pallister, Keane, Robbo. Vicky's fave, Robbo. We love Robbo. Back in the day, Whiteside had Kevin Moran to look out for him. Martin Buchan, Gordon McQueen. When he was going through the youth there, some big players, big personalities.
Yeah, and I think you do get that with Martinez and Casemiro.
Yeah.
That definitely for Kobbie, he's definitely learning from him. What a person to have a tutor from.
Oh, absolutely. What a player.
Yeah, see, Rushmana comes in and say Man-Cheating City has tried 3 times to sign Mainoo, and he has turned them down every time. So at least his heart is at the red part of Manchester, and that's a good thing. I just want to have my say when it comes to Kobbie Mainoo. The thing that I like with him is his rhythm, as you mentioned, Stu, because his movement and timing is always spot on. In footballing terms, I know in Barcelona when Pep was there and tiki taka, they in Spanish they talk about something they call la pausa. Some people who can take down the ball and hold on to it to manipulate the tempo at the game, and drawing the opposition, because you hold on to the ball, you invite pressure, and you allow the team to shape, allow the team to move into positions. And I see we have developed our game as a team with Mainoo in it, because he's so good at conducting the rhythm of the team. So for me, he's the key element in this Man United team to get us ticking. So I'm so impressed by this young kid, and as I mentioned, we are one injury away for the season to be a disaster. So we have to do as Tom said, we have to tuck him in wool.
He if you remember the play towards the Mctominay goal, which by the way I thought Hojlund had scored first and foremost, and I realised he was 2 yards off him. And when the ball was kind of flicked to him, his control, although it looked like a deft touch, his control was off, just slightly off. And he managed to adjust himself to get hold of the ball, and that allowed him to do the kind of Cruyff turn, which then obviously resets up the play. Dalots puts in that wonderful cross, and McTominay scores. I can't tell you how good a header that was. I mean, if anyone thinks in the chat that was an easy header, go and rewatch it. That was a really, really difficult header. The pace on that cross to get in front of the defender. Now, I can't remember if it was Longley or the other defender, to hold him off and then to push the power in the header. It was an absolute worldie of a header. It really, really was. I can't tell you how good a header that was. That's why I would love it if Hojlund would have scored. But going back to Mainoo, his wherewithal to make an okay kind of piece of control, but then lose it that extra 2 yards to grab it and then have the wherewithal to make the play from there is what he does really, really well. The other thing he does really well, he knows when to walk and jog and run. He knows when to walk, jog and sprint. It's an absolute gift in football, that is, knowing when to just walk around and when to stand still and then when to jog and then where to hit that 10 yards. And he did that perfectly in all that phase of play, which again sets up that play. So it'll be interesting to see where we are in 2 years with him. Absolutely. He's going to have some big suitors. We are going to need to tie him down, but I think it's too soon. right now.
It's funny you mentioned how he walks and jogs and sprints, because when I see, for example, Mctominay, he's kind of useless when it comes to that, because he's always jogging like this.
Yeah, it's an art. People like that. Yeah,
and for me, he's always off because of that. He's either too soon or too late into the situation, and it doesn't help out the team because he doesn't stop, look around, and read the game. And that's a problem. But that's players who walk a lot. And if you, for example, see Messi, you see him walking for 15 minutes of the beginning of the game, just watching it, and suddenly he explodes because he knows where to exploit the room. Where is the room? Where can I go? What is the players doing? What is the defenders doing? And that's an undervalued thing to do.
It's an art, Jarvis, that never ever gets spoken about. I mean, years ago, I must have been about 22, 23, something like that. I was playing for a team out in Wales, and the gaffer always said to me, he said, "Look," I said, "I want you, we want Smudger, and I want somebody else to spend the first 10 or 15 minutes just looking." So we would position us in and around the field, and our job was to look, see where the ball was taken, see if it was on the left side, see if it was on the right side, see if they passed inside, did it go to the centre half, did it go out wide? If the winger took it, did he take it with his right foot, did his left foot? We used to study the way that the opposition played out of opposition, so it allowed us to play ourselves into the game a lot quicker. And it does work if you're sensible and so.
I see Byron Francis comes in and say the only thing Mainoo doesn't have is pace, and that's why it's important we control the game better. And he also mentions that the Mainoo has no pace but great feet. Anthony has pace but no feet, and that's a good point. But you don't need like super ultra fast pace to be a good footballer. When you see like players like Pirlo and
Pirlo,
for example, they don't sprint much because their head is so fast. They know where to be all the time. They don't need to sprint.
Yeah. Their education's been done. The education's already been done from players like Pirlo and stuff. And it's like what you guys are saying with Messi
and Modric,
where he walks around the field for, say, 15 minutes. He's reading the game. He's understanding where the openings are, where the patterns are, where he can run into, where he can have the ball, where he can manipulate play. The only thing that I'll say with Kobbie Mainoo, and it's not just a criticism of him, it's a couple of our young players that I'm going to say it with anyway. Garnacho, I'd put in that conversation, Palestri even, and Kobbie Mainoo especially, is he will be targeted. And one thing that I'll say he'll be targeted from is set pieces, because he's not the tallest player in the world. And physically, if he goes up against a 6'2", 6'3" centre-half, who, when Manchester United have normally played set pieces, we traditionally go for the zonal marking. Now, we haven't in the last couple of games. West Ham was a bit of a mismatch in the first half of set pieces. We tried it, and they was running all over the bloody top of us whenever they put a ball in the box. So we had to change it and put a lot more taller players on the field and try and mark them out of the game. Especially in the West Ham game, they targeted him every chance that they could. When we went up at Wolves, for example, Craig Dawson, the amount of times that he was trying to get into the back of Kobbie Mainoo when they played the zonal marking system, but then they ultimately just stuck on a more physical player on him, like Casemiro, and then it wasn't so much of an issue. The problem I have is, I can understand he's 18 years old, but I've seen player progression. Erling Haaland's the easiest one that you can use as an example. Progression from Salzburg to when he first stepped foot into Manchester City in 4 years, in that tenure, where I can't remember if he spent 2 years or 3 years at Dortmund, roughly anyway. He had that 1 year at Salzburg. So it was about 4 years. 4 years development. By the time that he got to the age of 22, 23, the guy was 6'5". He was about, Jesus Christ, I don't even know what I think, 200 pounds, comes into the Premier League, can bully anybody off the ball. Centre half. It was almost as if centre halves were scared to go towards him. Never mind the centre forward in that argument. So I think with someone like a Kobbie Mainoo, based upon God didn't bless him with height or pace, right? Make your own attribute. Be solid. Be a solid midfielder. And in many cases, if he can have that, he knows how to balance his energy in a game, as we've all just discussed. He knows when to walk, when to jog, when to run. He knows how to balance himself. He knows his limits in a game and when he needs to progress and when he doesn't, or when he needs to do in a certain aspect of the game. The only thing that I'm going to say is when it comes to big games, especially when you go in for big trophies, for example, you're in a semi-final of a Champions League, there's no mercy. There's no mercy. They'll kick through you. They'll do anything to you. They'll barge you out of the way. They'll elbow you. They'll headbutt you when the referee's not looking. They'll do whatever they can to get in your head. It happens. And Kobbie Mainoo is a young kid at the time now where you think the world's at his feet. He's talented with the ball at his foot. But aside from that, is where he's going to be judged predominantly more in the Premier League, based upon that he has to make those adjustments to improve and get more physically commanding and stronger. And when he does that, especially with how the Premier League's been over the last couple of years, where it is about physicality, more so in games, because players are becoming more physical and rougher and tougher, even though the refereeing rules are getting a lot harder overall. But when we base it off of what we have right now, you just have to accept that the kid needs a little bit of time to develop that, but the club needs to help develop him in the right way. And that's why I say the sooner that you select a position for him to play, and that's it, he will be the number 8 for Manchester United, he will be the number 6, he will be whatever. The sooner you pick a position for that, the sooner you can bulk him up and you can build him up to be that player. If he's going to be a 6, I guarantee you now, he needs to be solid. He needs to be a solid Casemiro kind of player because he doesn't have the pace. If he's going to be a number 8, okay, he needs to be a little bit lean muscular. The best case scenario that I would see is someone like a Bellingham.
Don't you think Ten Hag wants a similar type of Frankie de Jong?
Do you know something?
Like
I was discussing that with Nuruddin a couple of streams ago when I was on his show, and we said, God forbid if we'd have actually signed Frankie de Jong and you'd have Frankie de Jong next to Kobbie Mainoo, we'd never lose the ball. And I'm not. And people will laugh at me when I say that, but I honestly think I don't think we'd lose the ball. I really don't. I think it would be a joke. And when we talk about when certain players in our team can't keep the ball, Mctominay, Fernandes, players like that, no stress, no worry. Kobbie Mainoo, Frankie de Jong, like night and day between what we have.
It would be a little bit similar if you have, for example, Silva and Gundogan in Manchester City. They're both small players, but they never lost the ball.
Nuruddin said that as well. He said about with Bernardo Silva and David Silva, the two of them in the team. It was unfair whenever you played it because you couldn't get the ball off of them. The low sense of gravity with both of the players was brilliant. And that's effectively what you have with Kobbie Mainoo right now. But the only reason why I'm saying that I think the kid needs to bulk up is, as time goes on, the Premier League will become more intense based upon everybody wants to compete for everything. So it is going to be about physicality. It is going to be about knowledge. And it is going to be an intense game. Every game that you will play in the Premier League, 9 times out of 10 in a game, you're probably going to come out with a yellow card. That's how the game's going. Or you might get sin bin with these new rubbish blue cards, which, listen, we might get on about anyway. But like I say, the game's going to change. Players have to change with it. And like I say, I don't want the kid to be in that same position where we've had so many kids, like Stu was saying about, we say Ravel Morrison. Ravel Morrison at that time, he was a brilliant attribute and he was brilliant with the ball at his feet, yada, yada, so forth. Aside from having the ball at his feet, he struggled because we didn't develop the kid properly overall. But if you want to develop the guy, and that's why I say the same for Garnacho. Garnacho, I'm sorry, if he stays as he is right now for his whole career, he will be bullied. The left back will stick straight into him, bang, and they will take the ball. They'll either take the ball or they'll take him and the ball, and then he doesn't run at anybody. If they bulk up a little bit, and it's not sort of that they have to bulk up like 50 pounds, Jarvis. I'm talking like 10, 15 pounds, maybe a stone. That's it. That's it. I'm not talking about mega weight gains. Like the sort that I was saying about with Erling Haaland. That's development. But that has to come from the player. But in this instance, he's a young player. So the club have to support him and have to put him on the straight and narrow. And that's why when we was discussing about his entourage, listen, he's a talented kid. But the one thing that I would absolutely hate for Manchester United not to do right now is Any football club, like you said before, somebody put in the comments, City have tried to sign 3 times already. Put a ban on it. Put a ban on it and say to anybody, say to his agency, his father, whoever, it's Manchester United or nothing. It's Manchester United. He plays for Manchester United. Let him focus on this football club. He's a local lad. We'll support him. And then as soon as you get that contract and he signs on that dotted line, you've got him. You've got him. There's none of this about City. There's none of this about Real Madrid, Barcelona, because suddenly when these clubs come into your head, you start thinking, oh, bloody hell. I know exactly what Kobbie would think. Oh, bloody hell, Jude Bellingham. You know, what's he doing in Real Madrid? That's what he would think in that instance.
Yeah.
He would think, Spain, brilliant climate, brilliant culture. Real Madrid, Barcelona, history, legacy. Exactly the same as what you have with Manchester United right now. The only difference is Real Madrid could win the Champions League. Manchester United aren't built to win that right now. That's the difference.
No, we're not.
And that's
we're not
why
right there.
You have to progress these players, but individually as well is what I'm saying. Progress them, but you can see that there's talent there. Garnacho, there's a talented player. Kobbie, there's a talented player. But you need to develop them. That's what I'm saying. You need to develop them, but you need to make sure, as a young player at the age that they're at right now, just let them have a position.
Yeah.
Let them have a position. Just let them pick. If Garnacho wants to be a right winger for Manchester United, right, you're the right winger for Manchester United. Go forward with it. Kobbie Mainoo, exactly the same thing. Pick where you want to play, Kobbie. I want to play as an 8. Right, we'll develop you to be a number 8. None of this it can be a 6, it can be this, it can be that. If he has to play that, fair enough, because we have injuries. But I want to see players playing the exact same position and it doesn't change. That's all that I'm wanting. I want some stability with our players, so then they're not going to overcomplicate it. We had this discussion years ago. Fred, Mctominay, are they a CDM? Are they an 8? Are they a 10? Are they a whatever? And suddenly now they're a nothing. They are nothing. Neither of them. Fred's gone to Turkey. Mctominay has to come off the bench just to try and score a goal. But you can't define him as a midfielder because he doesn't have any attributes other than being physical. That's it. But
Tom,
like
speaking about Mctominay, I just want to mention this to Wiki and ask her a question. What about Mctominay? Should he do we deserve a start in this game or in the game, or are we happy with him coming on as a super sub and will he develop as a super sub? Is he the next Ole? What do you think?
That's it. You said it. I mean, I've done this in the group chat as well, and I've gone, oh, there's Mctominay, and what happens? He scores. So
you're not his biggest fan.
Oh, it's just because I think he's just not meant to fit into the way that we play. Because he just drives me mad on how the minute he goes on, our midfield is just in chaos, and then our defense goes pretty quickly. But if we're treating it like as when he comes on, it actually looks more like a 4-4-2, 4-2-2. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, don't. It's Monday. And that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, but I appreciate Mctominay as an impact player who can sit on the bench, come in and play as a hybrid of midfielder, striker, whatever you want to call him, because he's not a midfielder actually, and he's not a striker. He's something in between, and he can fill those pockets by running into them, and he's deadly inside the box. He can score a lot of goals. He has scored 7 goals this season. Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like with players, McTominay when he was a young player. For people that don't know this already, he was a striker. Now he's supposedly a midfielder, but all of us would sit here and say, you can't pick where he's best placed in a midfield. So he's a midfielder, but we don't know his best position. And he's 27? What is he now, guys? 26, 27? He's getting on a bit.
Yeah, 27, I think.
He's not a young player anymore. He's not Fergie's grandson like people make out. He's an experienced player in this squad. But like you're saying there, Jarvis, he's an impact player almost, that he can come off the bench. If you need something, give him a go, let him have a go, and let's see what we can do. If you want to put pressure on set pieces, you need to put pressure on set pieces. The best case scenario for a player like McTominay is if suddenly if we get a style of play where it evolves so that we can play in waves. And people who know the term, the phrase waves, you'll know this, Jarvis, from a tactical aspect. Waves is where you put constant 100% pressure on a team and they can't find a way to get out of it. Put balls in the box, set pieces, whatever. You play in the opposition half 15, 20-minute periods. and they don't get out of it, you strangle them. McTominay, if you stick him in the box and you put balls in, like what Dalots was doing, from one side, you have Shaw on the opposite side, bombing balls into the box. Rashford, Garnacho, whoever, stick loads of balls in the box. One of them or a couple of them will stick in those 20 minutes. They have to. It's the logic of physics. Humans can only do so much. And in football, you see it so many times where you have those little fluky errors, like what we saw with the first goal, where it just drops to a player. You don't expect it to drop a Hojlund there. It's not intentional, but it happens. That's what it's preemptiveness. But McTominay, guys, I don't know about you guys anyway, and people in the VR room, get in with your comments and your answers to this. What I'm going to say here anyway is, if you do have some money coming for him, like who was getting offered for West Ham, but arguably he's proved his credentials even more so this season, do you demand more? And do you get rid of him? Or do you keep him based upon that he's going to give you that option? What's your guys' opinion here? Go on, Jarvis. You have a go, man.
Yeah, I think we should demand more. If we had a substitute player from another top 4, top 5 club who has scored 7 goals, he would have been easily worth 50 million. So I think 35 is in the low end, but I don't know how his contract is, how many years he has left, and all of that. But I think we should demand something like 35 to 50 million. It depends. I just want to bring in the birthday boy. Haven't had his say on this, but I just want to go to Harry Maguire, because I know he had a brilliant game yesterday. He was named the man of the match by Gary Neville and Sky. And I heard a little bit on your show yesterday on Devil's Advocate podcast, Stu, and you were speaking lyricals about Maguire.
I played it up a bit yesterday, Jarvis. I always give him a 10, Maguire, because he's the one, isn't he? Look, I thought he was solid yesterday to an extent, and I think Villa allowed him to be solid. Harry Maguire's the type of centre half. He's a little bit like me. He loves to fight, so he likes a big, gangly, strong centre forward to play against. A little bit like Ollie Watkins. Although Watkins can be quite a hybrid occasionally. He can be quite useful on the deck, can't he? But he's quite a handful, is Watkins. And Maguire likes that type of player. He likes to be able to get up there and win headers, wrestle with him. So, I think Watkins got the better of him in 1 or 2 times. I've never seen Watkins, by the way, fluff his lines so bad. I mean, crikey, he only had to toe poke one. He would have popped it past the nine. Very, very strange. Of course, it was the might of Harry Maguire within his circumference of his eyes that scared him. That's why he didn't. That's why. Cheers, Trev. That's why he didn't score. But he was an interesting one yesterday, Maguire. I thought he was massively dangerous in the opposition penalty area. Great header in for Hojlund. Hojlund's movement at that particular time was Ruud van Nistelrooy-esque. It was a phenomenal piece of play. Stop-start momentum and then a sweep. Absolutely tremendous. Don't worry, sweetie. I'll wake you up a bit. I'll sort you out before we go up. And so he swept that lovely. But it was a wonderful header. If you watch the way that Maguire got up, towered above. What's his name? We got the goal. What's his name? You got the goal.
Villa.
Diaz.
Towered above Diaz, and it was strange that. But they were saying it was strange that. Diaz was marking Maguire. No, Maguire sought Diaz out and made,
He owned him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he completely owned him. And
could have owned him though with that shimmy though. What?
Jesus Christ! That shimmy of a goal. He marked his card for me. I'd have absolutely nailed him. Don't. I'd have absolutely caned him on the pitch. I really would have. So I thought it was an interesting performance from him. I kind of played it up a little bit. It was close to, for Maguire, from where he was 18 months ago, Jarvis and Vic. I think we'll all be fair to say it's close to perfection for him as you're going to get from what you've seen. And there's a lot of mitigating circumstances about that. You've got Casemiro and Mainoo wonderfully playing well. You've got Onana a little better, less shakier at this point in time. And I've always said to you, Jarvis, you've heard me say this a lot.
Yeah.
the trio of your two centre-halves and your goalkeeper is paramount to sometimes how a centre-half plays. So Maguire's not having to look over his shoulder anymore. He's able to look forwards. Made a couple of errors again. His positional play on occasion, I thought he was caught wanting. I did, I've got no issue saying that. He's not quite at peace with Varane just yet. It's not quite gelling yet, but that's the same for Varane. I know Vic will talk about Varane, but Vic was, pretty honest that he made a couple of errors as well. So did we play particularly well at the back yesterday? I'd probably say about 70%, Jarvis. I played it a bit up on the devil's advocate. I gave him a 10 out of 10. I did play it up a bit, but I did notice a couple of flaws in his game yesterday.
I actually gave Varane a 9.
Yeah, I know you did, sweetie. I gave Maguire a 10.
I know.
10.
But I missed most of that show, but I literally would love to have heard your words of what you were going to say about Dalot, because I know your love for Dalot.
I gave Dalot a lot of credit last night, sweetheart. A lot of credit.
Oh, what? And I missed it.
I think it was my birthday. I was allowed to give Maguire a 10.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, because it was your birthday, lad. But honestly, he was good. He was solid, wasn't he? So,
I mean, Jarvis popped up in the comments and said, right, Stu, I'm going to demonstrate why he didn't have a great game. No, it was funny. I did think it was funny. But so there was a couple of flaws in his game. And I actually do believe it's just this. Partnerships is everything in centre-half. If any of you guys play centre-half in the VAR room, you'll know a partnership is everything. You've got to be able to second guess what your partner's going to do. So if you need to step out and follow Watkins into an area where you shouldn't be, you need to know that whoever your partner is covering him behind you. And as I say, I think Watkins got in a couple of times. You have to bear in mind though, guys, Watkins is a savvy striker. He's no mug. He just, for whatever reason, just couldn't perform yesterday, could he? Which I thought was great. So I think Gary Neville was right. It was either Dalot or Maguire. I couldn't actually give it Dalot. I had to give it to my mate Big H. So no, I thought
I gave it to Dalot.
Look, I'll go on to Dalot now, and then sweetheart, you talk about him, because I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Dalot made two wonderful tackles. I think both were a Maguire issue, if I'm not mistaken. I know one of them was for sure. But that cross, don't ever underestimate how good that cross was, because a lot of us have seen Beckham, and Beckham uses the front of his foot. He puts a bit of what we call swaz on it, Beckham did. Dalot used the top of the instep, and he didn't get any whip on it. When you use the top of your foot, what you kind of here, you use that for whip and curl. I mean, Jarvis, you were a dainty player. I would imagine you used to employ that more than anything with your passing and shooting. Get across it, bit of top spin, a bit of whip. But Dalot actually used the top of his foot. He curled it, but it went like an absolute arrow. And I don't know how he did it, because he didn't use the top of his foot to get the slice at all. He used the side of his foot. I can't tell you how he did it, but again, never underestimate that header. That was a phenomenal header. It really was. It was a brilliant goal.
Yeah, but he used his side of his foot like David Luiz on Chelsea. Remember him taking free kicks? He's like hitting it with the side of his foot, and he got this.
Luiz had that. He kind of didn't use the top. He kind of hit it on the side, and he kind of like, it was almost like a flick, but a very noticeable flick. But normally when he crosses, you watch Dalot when he crosses, because he goes on the outside and he's trying to whip it first time. He'll use that spin. He'll use that side spin to get the goal. The idea of the side spin is obviously to keep the ball away from Martinez or the goalkeeper or your centre half. But the way that he did it, and the way Mctominay arrived in the box, used his arm just to manoeuvre. We'll say it's long leg, because I know was it Cash, wasn't it? It was Matty Cash, wasn't it?
Matty Cash, yeah.
He pulled Cash away, and then bang. So his overall manoeuvre, the ball coming in, and his manoeuvre was terrific. It was absolutely terrific, and he had to do that so that Cash couldn't get the extra yarding. Cash, though, as a defender, unbelievably poor. It was very poor defending, because two things should have happened. I would have gone shoulder to shoulder with McTominay. I would have got across shoulder to shoulder. So I wouldn't have allowed McTominay to move me out of the way, or I'd have elbowed him just at the top of his hip, just to give him a quick push out of the way, so he mistimes his header. That's what I would have done. Look, I wasn't in there, so I don't know how quick McTominay was. Cash, I know he was off by a yard, wasn't he? He must have been off by a yard. Cash was also leaning. Did you see he was leaning down slowly, but slightly? But even so, I'm not going to take anything away from McTominay, because that header was fucking top draw.
Yeah, but for me, you see it with Liverpool and their fullbacks all the time. They hit it on the first chance they got, so it comes in really hard, and they whip it in. And Dalot did the same thing yesterday. You don't use 2 touches or wait a little bit. You just whip it in, because you know the movement is coming right away. And you could see it. We had 2 strikers in the box right then. We were 2 against 2 in the box. Hojlund on the first post and McTominay on the second post, and he came like a monster just heading, and Cash had no chance.
That's why I thought it was Hojlund. I was up, because I just love that type of goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to play striker when I was a kid, and I understand the complexities of movements, but I was never a great header in terms of headering, on goal. I'm a better defender, 2 different types of heading. And I was desperate but when I saw it, I mean, I didn't care in the end, really, when the ball hit the back of the net. But yeah, but no, Vic, honestly, sweetheart, I gave Dalot a decent score yesterday. And normally I give him a 4 or a 5. I gave him an 8. I thought he was, got to hold my hands up sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, he's doing amazing, isn't he?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. I just want to say, I just want to come in and talk a little bit more about Maguire, because I want to talk to Stu about what I saw in the especially the first half, because he's not in control. What I saw, the movement with McGinn. McGinn was moving up and dropping down. Maguire, he got dragged out of position all the time, and we couldn't defend properly with the back 4 against Villa, because Unai Emery, he uses a 3-2-5 formation, or a 3-2 formation, or whatever you want to call it. So we were 1 man short defending. So Dalot was dragged out to cover for Garnacho, but Ramsey cut inside and came in between Varane and Dalot, and was always going in between them. So
correct.
Dalot was in a dilemma who to cover, Garnacho or the outer man or the inner man. So for him, and Varane and Maguire, they were always like struggling. Where am I going? Am I going here? Am I going there? Am I going up? Am I falling down? And with Maguire, he was in the first half, from the 20th minute to the 40th minute, he was spinning around himself, I would say 10 times, like this, all the way, because he can't move his head. He needs to just move his body, because the man can't scout. That's a big problem. And he doesn't have the ability to read the game quick enough for me, and there's nowhere near a 10 performance or a 9 if you act like that. He's good at one thing, and that is dropping deep and clear and block the ball, and he did that excellent, and all these headers. So for me, it was really good, but it's very limited.
Yeah, and
I'm not taking a dig at Maguire.
Right.
I'm just seeing it from a tactical perspective. Yeah.
May I just say, Jarvis, this is why people tune into Mufc Realist TV, because what you get is not just a balanced opinion, but a sensible opinion. And you're absolutely right. Do you know what the fascinating thing about that is, though, Jarvis? It's so easily remedied. On what you're talking about. You're absolutely right. He does turn with his body instead of his head. Whether he can't move his head because of the size of that neck and the size of that weight of that head, I don't know. Yeah, but all he's got to do is drop in 2 yards, and that's drop back 2 yards, maybe even 3 yards, so he can start to assess what he's doing. But he doesn't do that. And this is where you are right, Jarvis. He gets drawn in. He gets almost sucked in to where Watkins or the striker wants to pull him. And I've been there myself, by the way. I've been sucked in on a couple of times, and then I've lost out on pace. Because what Watkins is doing, he knows that he'll beat Maguire for pace. Sorry, I'm using Watkins. Let's just use a centre forward then. Just use a centre forward. He's pushing him in deeper away from Onana, say 5 yards. And that 5 yards is all Watkins will need, because it opens up to 10 yards, 5 + 5, basically. So he's 5 off him before the time, and you're right about Maguire turning. Before Maguire can turn, Watkins is 5 yards off him. And you'll never close that 5-yard gap, ever. You just won't do it. And that's why when he gets involved in that, and I've been in there myself, so you have to body check him, or you've got to try and grab him. You've got to do everything, you can to cause stop him. And this is why Dalots had to cover him on a couple of occasions over the last 2 or 3 games where he's come in sliding.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. His overall game as a defender is as good as anyone else. It's just he can't get to the positions he needs.
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit about how quick he is in his decision making. He's just a little bit too time. It's a little bit on his back foot, not on his front foot. And this is what I have really liked this season with Maguire. He's been on his front foot. He's been aggressive. He's been pushing out.
Yeah.
He's been blocking in front of the attacker, not dropping down and let him come at him. So he has changed his mentality in defending this season. But yesterday, especially in the first half, I saw a little bit of the old Maguire, and I didn't like that.
But you were right, though, Jarvis, and this is where people have got to get it. And you were right. Emery knew how to play Maguire. And that's what being a manager is all about, isn't it? He knew how to play. But Maguire, once you're right, from maybe 25 to say 40, maybe 52 minutes. But after that, he sorted himself out again. He kind of got to grips with the game. But and what you're getting at and what you're saying is, and this is where it's absolutely true, that 30-minute play where he's not quite at the races could be the win, or we could lose or win the game based on that.
Game over.
Yeah. So you need him. Whereas Varane and Martinez, they don't get sucked out. And if they do get sucked out, you've got that pace in behind, which is Martinez. Varane's not as quick as Martinez, is he? But he's quicker than Maguire. But between the two of them, they're not quick. Somebody mentioned...
that's not Varane's role, that's why. Just interjecting here.
No, you carry on. You're totally right. Yeah. Yeah. He is. I mean, I thought Varane had a solid game. Again, a quieter game, but a solid game. But this is kind of where... Hey, Mark. This is where... to really understand central defender, it does help if you've kind of positioned yourself in there, so you kind of understand where to be at any given time. I just think Maguire, I think the way that Emery set up, the way that he got Watkins running at him, the way that that Leon Bailey, I mean, he was superb, wasn't he? Absolutely superb.
He was.
I thought he was. The way that he twisted and pulled our midfield and our defenders around is difficult. But the thing is, yesterday we got lucky to an extent because Villa, in particular McGinn, because I thought McGinn had a brilliant first half, but a very poor second half. That was chalk and cheese, wasn't it? But I think if Villa had been on their day, we may have been on the losing side there, maybe 3-1.
The XG was 2.5 to Villa and 1.8 to us. So if we had played this game 10 times in a row with the same result, we would have lost the majority of the games.
Yeah, I think your observations about Maguire are right, and I've got no issues with that, mate. So.
And another thing is we adjusted a little bit in the second half with Garnacho, because Garnacho was off. He couldn't really cover Moreno, who was the left back of Aston Villa. So we tucked them a little bit deeper and a little bit into the midfield. So he actually was more of a number 8 in a way. He pushed in, and that allowed Dalot, actually, funnily enough, didn't it, Vic? That allowed Dalot that space that he needed, and I thought Dalot's second half was wow. I thought he was brilliant.
So much positive changes in Dalot, and can't help but think Martinez is a big part to play with that. For those who don't go to Old Trafford, not that I go all the time, but the ones that do, first thing that Martinez does with the West Ham game, comes straight over to the Stretford end, cheers all the fans, and now Dalot's doing the same. And then from what I've heard, Dalot's still going straight over to the away side, gives them a cheer. He's the one who's still doing all the high fives, all the camaraderie, like bringing it up. Varane's doing it too. Vice Captain Varane, which now gone.
The
Sadly.
peach. The peach.
Yeah,
Not yet.
the peach,
Not
the
yet.
best fruit around. Anyway, yeah. So
That's what you call me occasionally. Oh no,
let's
sorry.
not talk about what we call.
No, I know. Sorry, sweetheart. I shouldn't have put that out there, should I?
But what can I just say? What's going on like with the corners now? It's almost other than when we had all our defenders up for the corner and then that conceded that goal, right? What was it? 3 games ago, and now we're like, it's almost like the defense is too scared to even go up near there. I still don't understand why Rashford's, by the way, is never ever in the mix. He's so tall, and he done what was it, 7 goals via a header last season?
He did. That's his best ever headed. Rashford's a bit of an enigma when it comes to headed goals, but I think our team as a whole are quite a bit of an enigma when it comes to headed goals. Yeah, we don't do it. We scored a few today. I absolutely right. I think Ten Hag did shut down McGinn second half. Absolutely, I think you're 100% mark on that one. And it was oi, Rushmano in the house. Rushmano in the house. Look at that. What have you got, Vic?
Oh, I got a pie popper for that.
I will play the video. 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Sweet.
Vicky, do you care to read out the new members?
Come on, Vicster.
No, I haven't got my glasses. My glasses are in the dining room. Sorry.
Okay. Excuses.
And I can't see it anyway.
I have my glasses. I will read them out. Give me 2 seconds. Here we go. We have Riot Thomas Sven Dios. We have Ed Barrett, Nick Cadogan, Stu Wally gifted a membership on his birthday. Oh, wow, those guns.
Oh, sorry.
Looking
Yes.
good.
Sorry, Vic. I told you. She doesn't like it when I do that. Do you, sweet?
John Marlowe. Oh,
show them the goods, because that's what we got for Valentine's Day, isn't it?
Oh, you know it. Oh, hold on. Is Rashmano at it again?
Oh, I have to read the first 10.
Yes.
We have Ed Barrett, Nick Canogan, Stu Wally, Jon Marlowe, Manjik Singh, Sam, Royden Frost, and Jeff Bezos.
Cheers, Rashmano. Thank you.
10 more from legend Mano. Oh, man, you are killing me with this reading out. We have JP and Santander. Jim D64, Andy Young, Jody Sports, Adam Harris, and AK, Peter Derich, Jerome Perscott, and 3 idiots. Not counting me.
Is that an actual name? Or are they referring to us 3? Because Tom's gone my way. Nice.
That's very cool. Actually, just touching on what Vic said is actually quite interesting. And a lot of people, again, don't kind of understand that the camaraderie that you do need. And I think having Martinez back, although I think he'll be out for 10 weeks, if I'm being honest with you, Jarvis, I think when you get a strained ligament, it's like an elastic band, the ligament is. So it's how bad the strain is to, so I think it could be 10.
Rest of the season for me. If we come to the FA Cup final, maybe he's ready, but nah.
Totally agree. Don't bring him back. Yeah, there's no need. Well, there is a need. let's be clear. There's a need, but I think Vicky's right about the camaraderie, and I get it a lot, and I'm a stickler for it. If we're due to meet at 12 o'clock on Saturday for the match at 2 or 3 o'clock, I'm there at 10:30. To me, you're late at 10:30. I don't like shoddiness. I don't like tardiness in football. And Martinez strikes me as that type of player. And I think, or joking aside this week, I think Varane's very similar. Casemiro, they're all that type of, they don't like shoddiness. For me, it's unacceptable if you're late. Or if you go to a photo shoot and your laces are undone. The little tiny things like this affect a footballer. And it tells you the type of person you're dealing with as a player. So I sweetheart, I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. If that means I get a bigger hug later, I treble 1,000% agree with you.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good. But I just wanna talk a little bit about Ten Hag's tactical adjustments during the game and before the game. Actually, how we prepared for the game. I think he's spot on when it comes to some things. When it comes to the corner kicks, for example, he clearly. He isolated the ball for Maguire all the time. He wanted it to head in, and we have movement coming on the back post. We could see it. We tried it time after time. We didn't do the same against Wolves. Then we always played short corners. We played it back and started. So Ten Hag is adjusting his tactics accordingly to the team we are up against. I'm a little bit critical to his in-game management. Sometimes I think he should have subbed on Mctominay a little bit sooner because Emery he changed the formation to a 4-4-2 and flooded the midfield. So we were a little bit off for 10 minutes, and then Aston Villa equalized. But when we put on Mctominay, it all looked better. But for me, I think he's doing small tweaks, and for example, the one I talked about with Garnacho tucking inside, and I also see a new thing from Garnacho when he's a little bit deeper. I don't know if it's intentional from Ten Hag, but when he's a little bit deeper and he got the ball, he has become the new ball carrier, the progressor, because he takes the ball and runs with it. And we used to see this with the old Real Madrid team when they had Di Maria playing. He was playing in midfield at the time before we bought him, and he was always progressing the ball. So he was their ball progressor. Do you think maybe Garnacho is our new ball progressor on a slump?
Just before I answer that, the gaffer has popped in with a super chat, wishing me a very happy birthday. So thank you, mate. I would like to kill Douglas Luiz, quite frankly, but if we had to do it, there it is.
Oh, I know you've got a better shimmy than that.
Oh, you know I've got a better shimmy than that. I did
I've
the
seen
Superman
it
impression, didn't I,
when
last?
you had the bow tie on.
Damn. I said I wouldn't mention the Superman impression, didn't I? And I've gone and done it. Bloody hell.
Oh, I know what that means.
That's it. I'm totally divorced now, guy. I'm divorced on my birthday. Thank you, mate.
Oh my god, I know what you mean by the Superman thing, and that's just way too. Oh my god, it's just wow.
Are you blushing there, babe?
Yeah.
That is he's gone out. Hi, Tom. He's gone out to our ball carrier. Yeah, I think he is. I think the movement out towards Garnacho is 100%. Oh, cheers, Georgie. You're 35. You are absolutely right. Thank you very much.
If he's 35, how old am I? Because
exactly in your 20s, and we know that.
It's a trick question. Don't answer it.
Yeah, it's almost a deliberate ball out, isn't it, to Garnacho, or Garnacho's coming deep to take it. It's almost deliberate, and I think that's where you've seen the re-emergence of Dalot. And I wanted to touch on the re-emergence of Dalot and Garnacho's helping him. So Garnacho, when he was stuck out on the right, it was like, Dalot was just walking into a brick wall all the time. He was having to bypass him. You can't have that camaraderie that Dalot and Garnacho have got. It's completely different to what Shaw and Rashford have. So
I love you. Oh, I love him.
Oh, all right.
Look, there we go. Someone had to spoil the fun and actually say the real age.
You should have kept that one quiet. So I think it's hugely deliberate, yes, that we are using Garnacho as our water carrier. Call him a water carrier, believe it or not. And that's what he does. But what I like about Garnacho now, he's going inside and out, but he's cutting in on that diagonal, which is what I've been asking for a long, long time. Rashford started to push the diagonal yesterday a bit. Then he gets in the penalty area and then starts river dancing around with his feet instead of actually pushing and getting the foul, which inevitably you're going to get off Matty Cash. If you know anything about football, you know that Matty Cash can't help but absolutely clatter you. I mean, he should have been on the pitch yesterday anyway, let's be honest. So why Rashford didn't go in and say, come on, Cash, come on, Matty, dangle that leg. just dangle it,
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. I also think second half in particular, we played more of a hybrid system all across the pitch. You're right that Maguire settled down. You're right that Varane settled down. You're right that when Shaw went out, it became a massive problem for us, didn't it? A huge gap on the left. I'm not saying Lindelof played bad. I'm just saying he couldn't adjust. He couldn't make that adjustment quickly enough. Hey, Victor's in.
Yeah, I done it for your birthday.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh.
He's in. Oh, that's sweet. Get that going.
I did have
music. Get that music playing.
Get the music going.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's getting worse, Jarvis.
Yeah.
Get a new one.
Well, Mick made me. He made me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me read out the members and we can talk more. Bri J, Dennis AB, James Raleigh, Lee Ham, Des1, Bare Feet, King Slobo TV, Mark Brooks, Neil Delta, and Joseph Joestar is the new member. So welcome to the club, and remember to thanks Wiki.
Well done, Victor.
It's his birthday.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
All right.
Yes.
And Yale comes in and say, hey, Jarvis, you need your reading glasses again. Yeah, I know. I'm blind as a bat.
I'm getting that way, I think.
But I can squint, If I squint, I can see everything. I can see a dime.
Do you think Garnacho's more of a ball carrier now, Vic?
Sorry?
Do you think Garnacho is more of a ball carrier now?
Yeah, he's definitely becoming more susceptible about just going for himself. Really found that it's just because it's all sort of coming together again, where you're sort of having the case scenario back and everybody else. It almost makes the players that would lose their heads from last. Oh, don't do that. I said I don't like
That's
that.
not me. I haven't done that.
Oh,
I hate that. Sorry.
Is that you, Jarvis?
yeah. I had this FB referables. This is Garnacho stats compared to the top 5 leagues in Europe this season, and you can see here progressive carries. He's on the 97 top percentile, and he had 6.03 in average progressive carries each game. So he's top European level when it comes to this.
Yeah, I've really sort of seen where it comes to Bruno and Garnacho, because you have Casemiro and Mainoo sort of holding the midfield. They're actually getting to play the way they want to play, and also Shaw is getting to play the way he got to play. Because one thing about Shaw and Bruno, normally when things start going wrong, they lose their heads because they're trying to do everything, and then it all sort of gets nothing gets communicated properly, and everybody's just playing for themselves. Got to admit, I think it's got more to do with having players back, which has given Garnacho to play the way he was now back from playing, and also Bruno as well. So I actually think it's not just the Garnacho thing. I think it's actually quite more of a team thing.
Yeah, well, no, I'd agree with
Lots of love from the VAR room, by the way.
Loads of love for you.
Yeah, it's my YouTube husband's birthday. Why can't we just flash out of it?
Absolutely. Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And we have Scotty at the wheel comes in and say happy birthday to you. And Stephanie Griffith also.
Thank you.
At the end of the show, I think we will be wrapping up in about 10 to 15 minutes time. At the end of the show, we will do a Q&A. So if you have any questions for the panel, just drop them in, and Mark will start them, and we will ask them at the end of the show. That would be nice.
A quick one I wanted to ask Jarvis, and are you back, Tom?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, all for the panel, really, for you three. Casemiro got a ridiculous ghost booking once again yesterday, and if if you saw the camera pan to him, you saw his amazement at. In fact, I taught him that because I did it on a regular basis when the referees come, at yellow with me at yellow card. So I taught him that saying. But what do you think his mindset is at the moment? Do you think he's going to have to adjust his game to kind of get through the season? Because if we lose him, it could be catastrophic, couldn't it, for our top four ambitions?
I think so. Yeah. Look, we've already lost 2 players that we fought tooth and nail for the last couple of months to get back, in Martinez and Shaw, and we've lost a pair of them in the short space of a week. So we are going to struggle from now to the end of the season. Casemiro's a difficult one because you want him on the field, absolutely, of course you do, but I don't think the referees I don't think they give him enough leeway, simply because of the fact of the incidents that happened last season. And some of them, they were ridiculous. Like he got the ball, he stood, slipped over it. It was a wet, rainy night in Manchester. What the hell is the guy supposed to do? Sort of thing. I do think there is a little bit impartiality in football. I'm not going to name names at teams or anything, but some teams seem to have a lot more joy with VAR when they throw up a tantrum, and they're on about suing them over a decision when it's their only loss in the season, or it was at that time, Liverpool. And then you have another team in the liking that have 115 charges pending over them, and the league don't actually want to come up with any jurisdiction to actually come up with any results, but they're already charging other teams before they're even going to penalise Manchester City. So, like I say, there's other teams around us that I think have a lot more leeway in the pitch. And listen, it's starting to come out in football now. You're hearing about a couple of Italian teams, maybe back in the 90s and early 2000s, where they were running a bit more than us and they weren't breaking a sweat and certain things like that. The scandals are coming out around certain players. You sent me one, Jarvis, through Twitter, I remember. The Dutch guy, I think you said one too. I can't remember. One of the players anyway, and there was some positive analysis in terms of data and testing and stuff. And like I say, I look at referees and I do think, look, they don't help themselves out. They're certainly not going to help themselves out with this blue card business. I think it's a waste of time. And if I'm being completely honest with you, from the sport that I grew up anyway, playing and everything in rugby, I feel like they've ripped rugby off, to be honest with you. They've nicked the technology system out of it. They're now nicking the sin bin system out of it. Right, what's it going to be next? They're going to nick the goal lines and the posts, and you're going to play hitting 50, 60 yards away at drop balls, and you're going to have a shot at goal open. Like, the system, it's getting ridiculous. And like I say with Casemiro, we need to keep him fit. I'll say that for all the players. I wouldn't go for this high intensity thing that we've gone for the last couple of months, if I'm being honest, where it's been a lot of the players have said, we're drained. The manager's very intense. I think he needs to tone it down just a tad bit in training and just keep it more about high performance in games rather than in training, and try and get the best of the results you can from now to the end of the season. But with the joys of it, like I said before, you need players like Casemiro back. When you go to the Etihad, when you go to, big games, like I said, we've got to go away to Chelsea still in this season. Chelsea away from home. Listen, when a big team comes in, they're going to want to play. Luton, listen, people, laugh at us now when we're on this 6-game unbeaten run and suddenly, we found a bit of form. I'm terrified to go to Luton, mate. Have you seen it? They've got chuffing houses in the actual stadium, and like I say, it is one of those old-fashioned towns.
So yeah.
You live around the corner, do you?
Yeah. I hate Luton Town. I must be the only person in the world that really has an issue with Luton Town. Always have, always will. Nothing to do with Dad leaving me there when I was about 6 years old because he had some money to drink and he bought me and my sisters to be fine on our own. Hate Luton Town.
Well, crikey. Like I said, Casemiro, we need to keep the guy fit. First and foremost, every player that we can keep fit from now to the end of the season, we need them, unfortunately. And like I say, I do think discipline-wise, I don't know. Last season, I'll be honest, I think he got rattled. I do think he got rattled by referees.
He did.
Especially in some of the games with some of the ridiculous. It was ridiculous, and I think they're just flying out yellow cards as if, they're passing over change. Like it's just so quick and rational. Like we discussed it before about at Liverpool with Dalots. Was it two forms of dissent, or was it 1-1? And a lot of people, even Liverpool fans, well, I've got a couple of friends who are Scousers anyway, they said, I couldn't understand it. There was literally at the side of the pitch anyway, in the kind of degree stand when they saw it all. And they couldn't understand
did you hear the chief football officer, or whatever he's called, today on Talk Sport? He was talking about a crackdown on dissent. Not particularly with the blue card, because what they're saying with the blue card is we're not going to see it in the Premier League for about 2 seasons anyway. We're not one of the trial countries, which is great. But he was talking about a new crackdown on players, that if there is a foul or whatever and they've been given a yellow card against them and then they perform dissent, and it's an immediate yellow. Is what they're saying. I don't think it's communicated to us, because we're all absolutely amazed, weren't we, what happened with Dalots, because he got it within, what was it, 2 seconds? 3 seconds?
I don't even think it was that, to be honest with you. It was so split and rational, and then he couldn't wait. It was almost as if he had the red card in his hand already. I don't know if he's got, if we're all colourblind and he has, different colours of cards. Like I say, there's a blue card, yellow card. What's it going to be next? The green card, the pink card. Like, they're coming out with all these different... honestly, and it's ridiculous. The game is going mad. It really is. We don't know if we want to keep technology in the game. Now they want to bring in new cards. Like, what's a sin bin card actually going to do? It's going to destroy football. Like, for example, yesterday, for people who aren't Manchester United fans who would watch that game, they'd be entertained. It was a little bit end-to-end. It was cagey in aspects. But you have a decision to make where, for example, what you said before, Stu, and I heard you anyway, you're going about Matty Cash.
Yeah.
When you're going about Matty Cash would have been sin bin. Realistically, if these blue cards were introduced, he would have been sin bin.
Yeah.
That would ruin the flow and the tempo of the game completely, and it would be a mismatch for 10 minutes until you get that player back. It will be, and it will ruin the way that football will be played and run. So, for example, when people say that, or when you go to the end of the season, you pick what was the game of the season, you won't be able to pick it anymore based upon that the games are going to be interrupted and disrupted just because that players can't, that officials can't officiate games properly. There's a fine system. There's a fine system in place to get rid of this and crack down on it. Fine players, fine clubs, whatever. Bar the managers for a game. It happens, but there's no consistency in terms of for every single team. That's the issue. You can't sit here and have one decision that we say about when we see it happen at Anfield, and then you walk like 5 minutes across Stanley Park to go to Everton, and the exact same thing happens, but it's the opposite decision. How?
So, yeah, well, the interesting thing about that, Tom, is, and this is where I 100% agree with you. Look, when I was sin binned for 10 minutes. That's an eternity, that isn't a game of football, 10 minutes. Anything can happen within 10 minutes. So I was sin binned for 10 minutes. Just cast your mind back to a few weeks ago and that disgraceful Diogo Jota dive for that penalty that he went against. I can't remember who it was. Was it Wolves or was it Sheffield United? I mean, that should have been not a penalty all day long. We all know this. What happens with that then? That should be a yellow card for diving, but in the new rules, he'll get a sin bin. But yeah, what happens in a match at the same time? Exactly the same incident happens, and he gets nothing. That's my issue, with it all. Look, in all seriousness, my sin bin, I was chirping. I could have gone for dissent. Fair enough. I get that. But there's 2 instances there where I don't see how they can police it, in my opinion. I don't see how that works.
Can I just ask when they go and do this 10 minutes, which I'm sorry, no kid ever went, oh, I want to play like football because I can't wait till I get I might have to go and sit down for 10 minutes? What's going to happen on their fitness levels? Because that's obviously going to drop.
So
The game's obviously going to drop.
Well, you will seize up. You know, you if you're carrying a knock, Vic, if you've been carrying a knock since minute 5, okay, in the game, and you get sin binned at minute 60, but as you're playing the game, the knock is okay. You can live with it. You know, your blood's flowing, and it doesn't matter. You've got to sit down on the sin bin. I'm guessing if it's anything like rugby, Tom, you've got to sit down, haven't you?
Yeah,
you can't move,
well,
you can't move, can you?
Yeah. You can't move, you can't do nothing. You can't train, jog up the end of the line, nothing. It's complete isolation. So
you'll be stiff, 100% you'll be stiff. And you're walking into a game that if you're playing City, Liverpool, which is being run at, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour in terms of overall play and ball speed, you'll never get up to it. If you've got 10 minutes to go, you're down to 10 players, 100%. Yeah, it's a really good question. In fact, it's a great question. Actually,
but we all know what's going to happen. We've seen it in games, but they stop the time, like hockey, handball, basketball. Every time the ball is out of bounds, they stop the time. The clock stops. But you don't do that in football. So actually, if you are introducing the sin bin, you have to introduce time stop every time the ball is out of bounds.
Jarvis,
because we know what's going to happen. If the team are 1 man down for 10 minutes, they're gonna drag the game down, the tempo down, use every black art of the book to destroy the game. And is that the entertainment we would like to see from football? I think they are missing the target with this blue card. It's for me, no.
That's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do.
Added time even, guys. Like when you see it now, you see games go over 100 minutes and things. And Vicky made the point, like I said, about like if you have an injury and you have a knock, you're in the sin bin for 10 minutes. What the hell are you going to do if you cramp up or it gets worse because you're not being mobile, you can't do anything? It's just going to cause more hassle than harm. And at the end, than help. And at the end of the day, when the lawmakers look at football right now, like it's almost as if they're going anti-football. Technology will suddenly take over referees, and it will. There will be one day you will not. A referee running around a pitch will not be used, and it won't be. It seriously won't be. There'll be a day where you'll probably have players that will be trapped in terms if they're on cards. It will be all virtual. It's going to happen at some point in time, and the fact of the football lawmakers certainly want to bring in a blue card, but hey, what's happened to Jarvis here?
I don't know. I've been simbing for 1 hour and 30 minutes here. I've been blue balled, I've been purple carded, I've been red carded, I've been everything. But I just basically came in here to say personally happy birthday to my young boy over there to the left, Stu Wally. And I just did a poll. And Stu, guess what? I did a poll here. Guess how young Stu Wallyball is today? Yeah, I gave them 4 options, Stu. 38. 48, immortal like Connor McLeod. There can only be one, right? Yes. And 54. What do you reckon? What was the winner here?
Less of the old man, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, sweetheart.
You've been warned.
I'm going to go for, I think people, 49, I think was the winner.
No, there was no 49. You're cheating. Oh. You shaved off a couple of years there.
What was it? Sorry.
41. Okay, let's go. 38 was 5%. So you weren't that lucky, Stu, to be honest, right?
No, I wasn't that lucky.
There's Botox and there's still cosmetic trips to Turkey to save up to. All right, crikey. Yeah. Immortal came in on 30%.
Oh,
so
like
you're not Sean McLeod, to be honest. Yeah. 54 on 25%. But guess what? You shaved off a couple of years. Yes. So you're still 48 according to the poll on 35%, Stu. Happy birthday, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much, pollsters. That's absolutely great.
I keep you young.
I was going to put the fake tan on today, but the wife wouldn't let me. And if I put the fake tan on, I'd have been in my 30s.
Well, because if he keeps doing that when he goes to sit down on the loo, he stains the loo seat.
Anyway. Guys, fantastic. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm going to sleep, but I just want to personally thank you so much. You're a legend, and congratulations. I wasn't aware it was your birthday, but now I'm here. Happy birthday.
No, thank you very much.
You've been here for a very long time, and we have streams when you come with pink tops, green tops. You're always surprising, colorful man that you are. Love you, man, and wish you all the best.
Thank
all
you.
right.
Thank you very much.
People, don't forget to smash like and subscribe if you haven't. Jarvis was sent to the sim bin for 3 minutes for slashing, but now he's back. Good night, people.
Thanks, Mick.
Night.
Here he is, bless him.
Yeah, I'm back.
The big man's back.
Well,
hey, it's should we do the Q&A? Is there any Q&A?
Yeah.
Should we do the Q&A?
time for the Q&A. That's your cue.
Q&A. Right then. Let's see. That. Oh, Vic, this is one for you. Now you were going to, yeah. Well, have we changed the set piece coach?
No.
Didn't you?
No, we have not. And it's just, but there's no point. There's no point in pretending. I guess we'll wait for Ineos to come up with some alternatives. But I guess they're starting from the top and then tweaking, and they'll go down, down, down. But no, we haven't changed the set piece coach, and it doesn't really make a matter if we had one or not, because
and our set piece,
working with the goalkeepers a bit more. I'm not sure. Maybe they're talking more about, like, because if you see how he has the defenders like leading from the back. Oh my god! By the way, the only fault you could say about Maguire, right, was when Onana passed Maguire the ball, and then he passed it back to Onana. Like, the one thing was, they said that the rule was last season in particular that they would not pass the ball to Maguire because in case he sends the ball back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So
I actually went, oh my god. What I said like yesterday was scarred my children for life.
Oh god, yeah, that was funny.
I can't, because he was over here playing Minecraft. I was like, yeah, I'm that mum. I'm watching football. There's your tablet. Right, fine. And yeah, when I said that about the referee, and then he.
That's unrepeatable, Vic. Unrepeatable.
Yeah, I know. Really bad. Because my 13-year-old, he goes to Old Trafford all the time. He's heard everything.
Yes. Yeah. When Jakey was there, was actually, I first took him when he was 9. When he was 11, he said to me, Dad, I've downloaded this. You can get an app with all the chants and the songs. And I went, what? Give me that bloody phone. Because he was effing it. Jeffing I don't know, kids. No, well, Mados, hope that answers your question. Thank you, Vicky. Tons of you watching. Please like and subscribe. Just a very, very quick message as well. Please check in on everybody and anybody. What's that I can hear? Okay. Please check in on everybody and anybody in terms of if you haven't heard from anybody for a few days, somebody that's really active in the chat, you've not heard from them, please, whatever you do, pick up the phone, drop them a message, just make sure they're okay. A lot of people like us, we're smiling, but sometimes deep inside, people are hurting. Make sure you can be there for them. Sorry, just a quick message there. Jarvis got an absolute perler for you. An absolute perler. And this is from Mark. What are your thoughts on the progress over the course of this season in application of tactics, repetition of style of play? Do you think the team is finally understanding their roles? This is right up your street, dude.
Oh, this is a good one. Thank you for the question, Mark.
Great question.
I was in the chat on the Mark's live stream early this morning. I think it was 9 o'clock, and we talked a little bit about the progression of Ten Hag and how we have tweaked this team to get them working. It's complicated. We have players back. I mentioned Mainoo, how he involves the team and impacts the team with his rhythm. But we also see players like Garnacho is doing his thing. Dalots is doing his thing better and better. And the one player we haven't mentioned today is actually Rasmus Hojlund. and how he has developed his game. In the beginning of the season, he received the ball. He was trying to turn with the ball and wrestle with the defender. Now he's played much smarter. He lays off the ball to Bruno. Bruno is much closer to Hojlund. Bruno is higher up the pitch. Bruno is not wasteful on the ball. He's in the high 80s in pass completion every game now. Because of Hojlund's play, so everything is ticking at the moment, and I think it's much of this is up to Ten Hag, because he's been doing great stuff but these small adjustments, and you gotta have like almost a trained eye to see what is actually going on, because it's hard to tell during the intensity of the game. So I think I feel that the team is finally understanding their roles. So good question, Mark. I hope that answered your question.
I think it's a brilliant question, and you're absolutely right. We haven't had a chance to speak about Rasmus properly. Next week, is it all right if I plug it, Jarvis?
Yeah.
Next week, we've got an ex-Manchester United player, Phil Marsh is coming on, and we're going to do a show on agents. Phil's going to talk to us about the role of the agent, what he's done in the past, but he's also a striker, and he absolutely brilliant to listen to him talk about the positional play of Rasmus and how he's improved from when he walked through the door to where he is today. And Jarvis has made a brilliant point. Actually, Rasmus, with the way that he is playing now, playing up the pitch more into the 12 yards kind of area that we need him, is allowing Bruno that space that he wasn't getting when Rasmus was dropping deep to get the football. So well spotted, Jarvis, mate. Absolutely.
And just so you know, you're going to love Phil. I know Phil a bit well, and he's a great guy. You're going to really enjoy him.
He's tremendous. Great deal of knowledge.
Ex-United player.
Ex-Manchester United
player. On Wikipedia, he has 6 games for Man United.
Yeah, ex-Manchester United player, still active at Carrington. Still playing. Had an injury, but great.
Yeah, that was quite tragic, though.
It was, yeah. It was awful. But he's played with. You'd be amazed. He's played with the players. So please tune in and really give Phil some love, because he's a great guy. He really is.
Oh, is Tom gone?
He dropped out. Yeah.
He dropped out. Vicky, question for you. We've kind of touched on it, but it's still a great question. Casemiro's marked man with the refs now, sadly. What do you think?
Oh, are you asking me this question because what we were talking about when I was saying about my topic?
Yes. And it was a clean topic as well. I'd like to point that part out as well.
Yeah, I think it's coming to a point where refs are trying to get the limelight. It's like they've looked at Clattenburg on Gladiators, and they've all decided to join in. So yeah, I do think he is a marked person, but I do think like the ones that do like to be card friendly and do things for show will just go on booking him. They will do that with him. They'll do that with Bruno. Yeah. Do you know what's been interesting though? Because last season, have you ever done like a fun bet? Like I'd always go, I'm always going to see if I'm going to book Shaw or Maguire, because last season, because they were very clickbaited, talked about players, because obviously they were playing for England and not always getting into the first team. Not so much for Luke Shaw at the end, but Maguire got carded a lot. It was either do I pretend that who got a booking for fun? Would it be Shaw or Maguire? And it get right every time.
Yeah.
No.
And there is something. I have been doing my research, and I will probably have that as a topic now about high track players getting booked.
No. Look, I tend to agree. Actually, we've seen it in the past, though. It's nothing new, Rushmano, really. If I could go back to Graham Poll days, he used to make a massive thing about booking a player or sending a player off. David Ellery was one of them, wasn't he? Jarvis, who would he used to stroll over, didn't he? Have that.
I remember Colina. The Italian.
Luigi.
Very theatrical every time when getting the yellow card out. Yeah.
But Jarvis, can you give us a demonstration on how a yellow card should be given, please?
We'll just in the back pocket, or is it in the front pocket? I've never been a
It's
referee.
in the front.
Red,
It's in the
red
front.
card in the back, yellow in the front.
Yeah, so it should be like here, and you just take it out.
Oh, wonderfully done. Look at the movement, you see. It's all about arm movement, guys. Look at that. One fail, holds it tight.
But you can someone
I'm not going to lie. Whenever I see a yellow card, and they always do it from the side angles, I always see how weird the referees' thumbs are. Just so you know, a weird thing I look for.
You can't do it from the side, can you? You can't
like this.
No, when they do that, and then you sort of see it, and you go, "Oh my god, their thumb is weird." Sorry, that's so mean.
I'd love a referee to be a magician, and he just goes out like that, and then turns it around, and there's the yellow card.
Oh yeah, no. Is it a yellow? Is it a blue, or is it a red? It's a.
You choose.
But then they've got to do that so it disappears.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that'd be absolutely brilliant.
Sorry.
No, absolutely brilliant. Jarvis, textbook.
Yeah.
But there will have to be some sort of thing, because I think it needs to be investigated more than anything, because we've all seen it with Klopp and Arteta. They all kick up a fuss, and then things don't happen for them. Like, they're a bit less hesitant to book them and do things like that.
Yeah. In mind games,
Oh,
it's just mind games, and Ten Hag should learn. He should. I saw George Best saying Ten Hag should speak out.
Yeah, I was.
Mind games,
I was on a Spurs channel, and with them on a lunchtime, and they were talking about how they go, like, Spurs should come into the dark arts, and that's what they were calling Arteta and Klopp, you know, and a bit of Poch sometimes, but they were calling, oh yeah, we need to go into the dark arts. But because they've got such a chill, like, manager, and technically as like, Erik ten Hag is so obsessed with football, he's almost like got like, he can't channel anything else, like any narrative, but just to talk about football 24/7. That he won't do that sort of thing either.
Yeah, I have my moments. Have not.
Problem is though, I get to see him like talk about other things.
You do. I'm a smooth operator occasionally. Smooth operator. We've got. Yeah, that's it.
I'm not Mick.
No. One final question. This is a brilliant question. It's from Scotty at the wheel. Do you guys think in 18 months' time, summer 2025, 26, Man United would be invited into the Dutch league? I think that's what he's saying. If Ten Hag keeps buying his own players. What a great question. That's probably question of the night. Yes, I wouldn't. Yes. Well, actually, funnily enough, we don't know where we are, do we, Manchester United at the moment? We're completely in limbo. So Jim has not been ratified yet. There's stories going around tonight that I've seen that Sheikh Jassim is pushing him with a legal challenge on the sale of the club. Who knows where we are at the moment with
show himself. He has to show himself to prove that he's actually real. I don't believe.
I haven't seen that. I've just seen, rumors in the chat today.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. You know when you get those memes that you get sent where someone's singing you a song, so it's just someone's face, and the next thing you know, their mouth's moving and they're singing a song. I swear to God, they'll have a picture like that with Sheikh Jassim.
Sheikh Jassim,
yeah.
He'll be singing the YMCA.
Well,
definitely not from his country, actually.
We shall soon see. I mean, very, very strange. We do have a couple more questions come in, I think. Here's one. How many players do you think should be moved out in the summer? Wow.
How many people you think should, or how many you think will?
Should. I think he's going with should.
Should. 8.
Yeah, 8 to 10 for me as well. Yeah, 100%. I think, Jarvis, you were, last time we spoke, you were up about 12, I think. Yeah, but then we've shipped a lot of them out already, haven't we?
Yeah. You know, why prolong the pain? It's like a Band-Aid. Just rip it off. Get done with it. Yeah. I can easily take one season being 10th if I know we are going somewhere and shipping out players and building in and playing the youth. You know, I have no problem with that. But with modern day football, we need our money. We need to qualify for the Champions League and get the deep cup runs and challenge for the top 4. So it won't happen. But I would love if we could at least get rid of 6 players. That would be okay.
I think we've got to move 6 to 8. I totally agree. I think we've had players that currently aren't worthy of a Manchester United shirt. And I think, you've got to rip the Band-Aid off. You've got to pay them out their contracts. The thing is, though, right, you've got to pay these players anyway. So
I think it will be about reducing structure and pay of wages.
Yeah.
But can I just ask, do you not get as much? Right, obviously you don't get as much money if you go into the Europa League, right?
Yeah.
But how much less? Because that part throws me, because I'm not the smartest person in the world. I wouldn't know.
I don't know, actually, is the answer, but I would say you're looking at probably 20 to maybe 30
million.
Yeah, it depends how far you go in the Europa League. We seem to be.
I think we get about 60 just for qualifying for the group stages, and if we go deep, it's like up to 90 millions. You
can get up to 120, can't you, if you get to the final?
Yeah, it goes up from season to season, but I think it's about half when it comes to Europa League. So there is money in Europa League too, but not as much.
It's a big deficit. I mean, I think we'll hit. I think we'll make 4.
If you get rid of Sancho and Greenwood's wages, I'm sure that brings us up to at least another 25 mil a year.
I think you've got to bite the bullet on Sancho gone. I think you move Rashford on now while you've got some residual value with him. While you've got some. So I do. This is unpopular, but I think you do, and you start building youth. We've got youthful exuberance in our side at the minute with Garnacho, Mainoo, and Hojlund. You need to add
but you do have to realise you do have to have a consistent amount of English players. So if they're getting rid of Sancho and they're getting rid of Greenwood, the Rashford part is going to be harder.
It will be. No, you're absolutely right. But I think, for me...
homegrown is not English.
Yeah, homegrown doesn't have to be. Yeah, for me, though, if we want an English contingent, there are players out there you can go and get. I mean, I'd have Mctominay out of Wolves tomorrow. To play alongside Martinez. That'd be a partnership made in heaven. It really would. Those two would be terrific. And there are players, that you'll go and get. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. But they've got to get the takeover. I don't want to dwell on that now, but they've got to get that side of it sorted. So, guys, we've reached 1 hour and 50 minutes.
Speaking on the takeover, just gonna bring this one up from Rushmano. I just want to be real quick. He said Manchester United confirms Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had his deadline extended to midnight on February the 17th. The original deadline was February the 14th. This allowed competition of the Class A shares. So this is from Ben Jacobs. So actually now we're looking for a lawsuit from the Class A shareholders, and who knows what this will bring.
Yeah, why can't we just have good things?
Maybe there was a bit of truth in what's going on.
Ben Jacobs is usually reliable when it comes to the takeover.
Yeah. We've reached 1 hour 50. We're in overtime, Jarvis. We are in overtime. And so it's probably time to close the show. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. It is.
I'm well past needing beauty sleep, but
yeah, I know. Time to close the show.
My God, thanks, Stu.
What's that, sweetheart? What was it? What did I do? What have I done?
I said I'm well past needing beauty sleep, and you're like, yeah, you.
I didn't hear that.
Well done. You really, every show, you're just asking for a divorce.
Darling, your sound just dropped at the vital time. I didn't catch all of that. Crikey.
You know what? I'm just so glad that I'm quite laid back.
You're extremely laid back.
If I was high strung, then
I'd be in a world of pain. Jarvis knows it, but you could tell by his face I would be in a world of pain. He was.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. There's been loads of you watching tonight. I think we've got over 50 likes as well. I've not actually checked, but thank you very much for that. Just a quick reminder again, please, just check on everybody, all your loved ones. your friends, and your family. Bit of as I say, please tune in next week. We got Phil Marsh, and you will love Phil. He's absolutely brilliant. And me and Jarvis Sons, Mick will be looking at other shows over the next few weeks. Is there anything you would particularly like myself and Jarvis to talk about, whether it's a tactical piece?
I'm back on Wednesday, by the way.
Oh, you are into. I haven't got to that yet.
Oh, okay. All right. I just was going to, I thought we were going, so I just said, I'm back on Wednesday.
No. You can plug Wednesday in a minute. If there's anything you'd like us all to discuss, let us know. If you want us to get tactics boards up, or you want us to talk about videos, certain things about players' movements, players' control, players' vision, things of that nature, just reach out to us, and we gladly put a show together, won't we, Jarvis, on that. Anything you like.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. So get your wishes in, and just type it in the online comments, and or the Telegram group.
Yeah, please let us know.
Yeah.
And I was just about to say, the beautiful Vicky is back on Wednesday. Is Nick with you as well, Vic? Vic and Nick? Is Nick with you?
Mick is. And I don't believe Nick is, but I think Andy might be.
Mr. Tate, and I presume Jarvis will be there as well.
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe.
I'll be kicking the ball around, but I will be about 10 or 15 minutes late to watch it, sweetie. But I will be there in the chat. I'll give you a wave now for Wednesday.
And then me and you are together on Thursday, aren't we?
We are. If you want to tune in on that one, Jarvis, we are doing a topics evening on All for United. Ooh. And Vic has come up with a tremendous topic. The revival of the boot bag is your football bag is back also by yours truly. What's in your sports bag? So that's it. And there may be a topic of football boots as well. We don't know.
Interesting.
If you like a bit
of fun, every time we get into the football boot conversation, you always go for one. So.
Yeah, there's only one winner. Yeah, there's only one winner.
It's the Umbro one, isn't it?
Oh, what?
What? No. I knew that.
I actually always played with Nikes.
Were you a Nike guy?
Yeah, that was my foot. But they were a little bit lighter, a little bit softer than the Adidas one for me. And but I used to wear them in soaking them wet and running with them like for a couple of weeks, and then they were good to go.
Well, you did it properly. You see, the kids of today, everyone in the VAR room will know that your football boots, you just sit in the bath with them, they mold to your feet, dry them off, put some dubbing on them, get them nice and away you went. But anyway, the Adidas World Cups and Copa Mundials are the king of football boots. But as Mark has pointed out, Diodoras were prime back in the day. They were, I think Donadoni used to wear Diodoras. Puma Kings, Patrick Loudrops were all good boots. If you've got any good old boot memories as well, and you want to talk about that over the coming weeks, let us know, because our show is lard or dubbing. It was dubbing. If you want to talk about stuff like that, football boots, whatever your favourite ball was, what's your favourite thing about football? Me and Jarvis love stuff like this. Don't we, Pat? Absolutely love it.
Yeah. I love football boots. What kind of studs did you used to wear when you were playing?
Yeah, well, because I was old, it was aluminium screwing metal. But I was one of the very first in Shropshire to have the original Predators. I sported them at a Manchester United festival in 1994, I think, something along those lines. And if anybody remembers Sika blades, they were the first bladed boots to come out. They were called Sika, C-I-C-A, I believe. I had a pair of those. I've also, Mark, I've worn Diodora in the past, very, very comfortable. But Adidas are the king of boots. But I can understand Nike. My lad's into Nike. Vic loves Adidas World Cups. She likes them on my feet. They fit my feet well, she says. But no, and Predators. So Scotty, I've actually got a pair of Predator accelerators. They were the one with the red flip tongue. I've still got them in my football bag. I've had them, oh crikey, for years, absolutely years. They're knackered, but I can't bear to part with them.
What did I start?
Yeah, I know. I know. But these are great. You ask any guy about football boots, and they've got their favourite, haven't they? The favourite comes into it, you know. So anything like that, guys. Anything ridiculous, a bit quirky. You want to, you want to know what Jarvis's favourite socks are that he plays with. Yeah, just let us know. Anything like that.
Thinking of
one thing to when it comes to football boots. Sorry, Vicky. When it comes to football boots, I used to wear them for, I would say, like 3 to 4 seasons, because I mended them, like with Tech 7, Tech 7.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, all around the edges and everything, like gluing it together, and they were just going and going and going, but at the end they just fell apart.
You got to.
Do you remember, like back in the day, that would be a Christmas present?
Oh God, yeah, Christmas and birthday.
Yeah. Now it's just like, why do I want them now?
It's an everyday occurrence now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I did that. I had to replace my World Cups after 15 years a few months ago, and it was sad to see them.
It's always a sad moment. It's always like when your boxer shorts rips apart. It's like.
So without lowering the tone,
it's a bit when you run out of your favourite eye palette. I know how you feel.
Well, without lowering the tone a bit, but and even
no.
I've got a pair of in Euro '96 Budweiser. Budweiser. When you went to the pub and you had a Budweiser, they give you a pair of lucky pants for Euro '96, and they got 96 on the back. And they're kind of like red jimmies, so to speak. So they're red and white. And I wear those as my football kegs every weekend. And they're just about holding together. I won't show you them, but they're just about holding together.
You better show me them, because prove it, otherwise it didn't happen.
Sweetheart, I will show you those, yes.
Oh dear. What have I got myself into?
So everyone in the VR room's just gone now. They've had enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want daft stuff like that, please let us know. If you want tactic stuff, please let us know. Anything you want to talk about Manchester United football wise, we'd love to, because that's what we really, really enjoy doing.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not all meant to be about the news all the time or everything like that. You should be able to talk about all the fun things you enjoy about football.
Absolutely.
Like your favourite pie that you've ever had at a football stadium, or the best bargain you ever had at a football ground. I would like to know what your best bargain has been.
That's a good one.
Because I went to Emirates Stadium and paid just under £9 for a little bottle of wine. That's bad.
Wow.
But the Emirates Stadium's wonderful, isn't it? It's wonderful.
I took Elliot for his first ever match to see Man United, and I took him to the Emirates. It's a really hot day, and he fell in love with Onana, and then fell in love with Garnacho, and then really hated Declan Rice. And I've got to admit, that day he sold his soul.
I'll tell you what, Madhouse is talking about a pair of boots there. Jesus, they are jock straps. They're old. They are. Jesus, Neil Driscoll knows the way of the Yoda there. He's ideas. Mick, the gaffer is keen.
What did you say?
I think Mick, the gaffer, is Puma, isn't he?
Yeah. He come in with the old school Puma and Go Getter.
Stephanie's right. Those are the original ones I had, Steph, were the Craig Johnson Predators. Yeah. Yeah.
Madhouse comes in, and what about Jack Shops?
Oh, Kappa. Yeah, Kappa. Yeah, sorry, we ought to go. Yep. Yeah, sorry, Mick.
Now we're just rambling. I just want to say thank you to the VAR room, Lucky Singh, George Best, Mark, Neil Driscoll, Madhouse, Mick Ruby in the chat. Thank you. And who else did we have here? So many people. So thank you for tuning in on Jarvis's Corner. This was a great show. Thank you, Wiki, for coming on. Thank you, Stu Wally, for co-hosting. Thank you to Tom. Thank you to Mick for coming on, and to the VAR Room. And hopefully we will see you on the next. So have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's all, folks.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.
Sorry about that.